and welcome to Spectrum News at 4. I am Rachel David White, coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Buhari reappoints Idris Musa as DG Nostra. Rapes commend INEC for 2023 election, says electoral offenders bill will be passed. Plus, UN agency says more than 8,000 civilians have been killed in Ukraine since Russia's war began. We'll bring you details of the stories and more in a moment. We begin this afternoon with Nigeria's leader, President Muhammadu Buhari, who has approved the reappointment of Idris Musa as the Director General of the National Oil Spills Detection and Response Agency, NOSTRA, following his sterling performance in the past 4 years. The development is contained in a statement issued today by Olusegun Shogbola, media aide to the Minister of Environment, Mohammed Abdullahi, on behalf of the minister. According to the statement, the reappointment takes effect from April 1st, 2023. Reports say Musa was first appointed on April 1st, 2019 for an initial tenure of 4 years. Away from that, the federal government today at the Federal High Court in Abuja arraigned Kaduna-based Islamic scholar Tukur Muhammad Mamu on a 10-count charge of terrorism. Mamu, who has been in the custody of the Department of State Service (DSS) since last year, was docked before Justice Inyakwa for offences relating to a violent attack on the Abuja-Kaduna train in which several persons were abducted. Among other charges, he was allegedly accused of collecting sums of money in various currencies on behalf of terrorists from the families of victims of the train attack. However, Mamu denied all the charges when read to him in the open court. On electoral matters, the People's Democratic Party PDP governorship candidate Dauda Lawal has unseated Zamfara State Governor Bello Matawalle in the 2023 governorship poll. The INEC Commission declared Lawal as governor-elect with a total of 377,726 votes after he defeated Matawalle of the All Progressives Congress APC, who polled 311,976. He was announced as the winner in Gusau, the state capital, in the early hours of today. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has declared Kafez Abu the winner of the Taraba State governorship election. Abu, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, scored 257,926 votes to edge out the candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party (NNPP), Mohammed Yahaya, who polled 202,277. In third place, All Progressives Congress APC candidate Emmanuel Bacha garnered 142,502 ballots. The state returning officer, Professor M.A. Abdulaziz, declared Abu the winner today after finding his win in fulfillment of the requirement to be named the governor-elect. In the meantime, Kano state government has lifted the dusk to dawn curfew imposed due to tensions based on the anticipated result of the governorship and state assembly elections. The State Commissioner for Information and Internal Affairs, Mohammed Garba, said in a statement that the decision to lift the curfew was made after a careful review of the situation and the relative calm throughout the state. He called on commercial banks, public servants, and the people of the state to go about their legitimate business without fear of molestation or harassment. Meanwhile, the State Police Command has assured the people of their safety and security, warning troublemakers to steer clear of the state. Still on electoral matters, foreign observers under the aegis of the International Police Chaplain, Sustainable Development and Law Enforcement (IPCSL) have said that the March 18 governorship and Houses of Assembly elections in Lagos State were peacefully conducted. IPCSL mission said it deployed 182 observers from 13 countries including the US, Denmark, Pakistan, Cameroon, Togo, Ghana and Niger Republic to 2,117 polling units across Nigeria during the elections. They commended the Independent National Electoral Commission, domestic and foreign observers, civil society organizations, political parties, and other stakeholders for the spirit of democracy and patriotism they displayed during the elections. Their commendation was given by the head of the organization in Nigeria, Johannes Makuvia, at a press conference in Lagos. He, however, condemned the tribal sentiment and violence recorded in some parts of the state and called for peaceful coexistence among all Nigerians. In the meantime, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, says the conduct of the 2023 general elections has shown progress, but it is not yet perfect. Gbajabiamila stated this today at the resumption plenary after the election. The Speaker, while acknowledging the challenges that bedeviled the election, noted that the House will pass the Electoral Offences Bill to end electoral violence. He also commended the President for signing the 16 constitutional amendment bills. It would be recalled that President Muhammadu Buhari had signed a bill to allow states to, among other things, generate and transmit electricity. Meanwhile, the European Union Election Observation Mission (EU) to Nigeria has lamented the pervasive violence in the country during the last Saturday's governorship and Houses of Assembly elections. The mission stated that 21 persons were reported to have died across the country in various forms of election-related violence. The European Union mission said there was general voter apathy during the governorship election as a result of infractions that took place in the President and National Assembly polls. The mission chief observer Barry Andrews made the assertion while addressing a press conference in Abuja. Elsewhere, the presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, has formally filed his petition to the Elections Tribunal to protest the outcome of the February 25th poll. This was disclosed in a statement issued by the chief spokesperson of the BDATI Presidential Campaign Council, Yunusa Tanko. According to report, he made the statement after the legal team met with the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, who promised that the commission would give the legal team access to the materials. Obi's petition is coming 4 weeks after the 2023 presidential and National Assembly elections. In another development, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has dedicated the victory of the People's Democratic Party in the state's governorship election to God. Recall that the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) declared the PDP candidate Siminalayi Fubara the governor-elect, who defeated runner-up Tonye Cole of the All Progressives Congress (APC). Wike, who spoke at the Government House in Port Harcourt amid jubilation after declaration of the result by INEC, said it was only God that could guarantee the kind of victory achieved by the party. On his part, Fubara promised to continue from where Wike stopped after vowed not to disappoint the people of the state. In the meantime, the Ebano political structure founded by the former governor of Enugu State, Chimaroke Namani has joined the All Progressives Congress (APC). The announcement was made by Emmanuel Okor, chairman of Ibano, today in Enugu. The announcement is coming a day after the leader, Chimaroke, announced his decision to dump the People's Democratic Party (PDP). Meanwhile, the former Enugu governor had been groaning over his loss to the Enugu East Senatorial District seat to Kelvin Chukwu of the Labour Party (LP). Back here, TAF Media Group, owners of Planet 101.1 FM, Tangsio 102.7 FM and Spectrum Television, has announced its new TV free-to-air frequency to be 127733. According to the media group, the symbol rate of 3500 and the polarization V remains the same. Viewers are advised to scan their free-to-air decoder from Saturday, March 25th to tune into the new frequency. And we'll move now to Africa, where Russian President Vladimir Putin says he gives priority to relations with African countries as he looks forward for international partnership in the face of Western sanctions over the invasion of Ukraine. Putin said Russia will supply foods to the needy countries in Africa free of charge if an agreement on Ukrainian grain exports is not renewed. According to him, Russia will share its technologies with African nations and continue helping them produce electricity. President Putin made this known on Russian-African relations in Moscow. Reports say Putin is scheduled to host African leaders in June for the Russia-Africa Summit, the second of its kind. And still in Africa, U.S. says it has determined that all warring parties in the brutal war in northern Ethiopia have committed war crimes. Speaking with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who visited Ethiopia to meet Ethiopian government and Tigrayan officials, said his department had carefully reviewed the laws and the facts to determine the crimes. He reportedly accused members of the Ethiopian National Defense Force, Eritrean Defense Forces, Tigray People's Liberation Front (TPLF), and Amhara forces of committing war crimes during a two-year bloody conflict. He also blamed the Ethiopian and Eritrean Defense Forces as well as Amhara forces of committing crimes against humanity, including murder, rape, and other forms of sexual violence and persecution. He urged the government of Ethiopia and Eritrea, as well as the TPLF, to hold those responsible for the atrocities accountable. On a foreign scene, at least 8,317 civilians have been reportedly killed and 13,892 reportedly injured across Ukraine since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of the country in February 2022. Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, OHCHR, discloses in a statement. According to the statement, the highest numbers of civilian casualties were recorded in the Donetsk and Luhansk regions. Meanwhile, the other OHCHR said the actual figures of casualties are considerably higher, as reports from some locations are delayed pending corroboration. Meantime, an explosion in the north and annexed Crimea has destroyed Russian missiles being transported by rail. The Russian-installed head of the city of Zankoy Sev area had been attacked by drones. Ukraine announced the explosion, but as it's normal, did not explicitly say it was behind the attack. Reports say, if confirmed, it would be a brave foray by Ukraine's military into Crimea, which has been annexed since 2014. Still to come in the news. Griezmann set to retire from France after Mbappe is named new captain. Do stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. In our business news, Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee has voted to increase the benchmark interest rate by 50 basis points to 18%. This was disclosed by the CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele on Tuesday while reading the communique of the second MPC meeting. He said the committee also pegged the liquidity ratio at 30%. The tightening of the rate, according to the Apex Bank Governor, is expected to curtail inflation currently but at 21%. Still in business, power generation companies, GenCos, have listed some issues affecting operators and investors in the Nigerian electricity supply industry, NESI. Executive Secretary of the Association of Power Generation Companies, APGC, Joy Ogaji, in an interview said government should resolve the gas supply challenge that has been hampering power generation, make foreign exchange accessible and ensure adequate risk protection mechanism for GenCos against breach of contract. She also solicited government intervention to resolve all interface issues between distribution companies, DISCOs, and Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, enhancement of electricity and increased capacity utilization, security of power facilities from increased community hostility and resistance to payment for electricity. Ogaji noted that failure to resolve these issues will discourage would-be investors in the sector. And in health, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, has said that 78 million children in Nigeria are at the high risk from convergence of three water-related threats. This was made known in a press statement by the UNICEF Nigeria Chief of Water, Sanitation and Hygiene, Dr. Jane Bavin, and made available to newsmen. The statement released ahead of the UN 2023 Water Conference in New York from March 22nd to 24th, 2023, co-hosted by Tajikistan, and the Netherlands, called for urgent action to address the water crisis in Nigeria. Reports say the UN 2023 Water Conference, formerly known as the 2023 Conference for the Midterm Comprehensive Review of Implementation of the UN Decade for Water and Action on Water and Sanitation 2018 to 2028, will result in a summary of proceedings from the UN General Assembly President Saba Korosi that will feed into the 2023 session of the UN High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development. And still in health, the Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, has urged countries to work together to prevent future epidemics and pandemics. The World Health Organization boss, who made the call on a video posted on his official Twitter page, noted that working together through an agreed pandemic accord can help countries to forestall and adequately prepare for future epidemics and pandemics. According to him, the pandemic accord is an agreement between nations to work in cooperation with each other, not in competition, to prepare for and respond to epidemics and pandemics, adding that it is essential to emphasize that the accord is negotiated by countries for countries and will be adapted and implemented by countries in accordance with their national laws. In sports, Sevilla have sacked Argentine coach Jorge Sampaoli, with the club 2 points above the La Liga relegation zone. The former Chile and Argentina coach, 63, joined Sevilla in October for a second stint in charge. They have lost 5 of their past 7 matches and are currently 14th in the table. However, the club made it into the quarterfinals of the Europa League and will be facing Manchester United over 2 legs next month. Meanwhile, Sevilla said they are already working on recruiting a new coach, and their first game after the international break is at 15th place Cadiz on Saturday, 1st April. Still in sport, France striker Anthony Griezmann is considering retiring from international football after head coach Didier Deschamps preferred Kylian Mbappe as the team's new captain. Les Bellows as without a skipper after Tottenham goalkeeper Hugo Lloris stepped aside from international duty. L'Equipe reports that Deschamps has picked Mbappe as Lloris' responsibility. However, this decision has annoyed Griezmann, with the Atletico Madrid forward viewing himself as a strong contender for the role. Meanwhile, the 32-year-old has picked up 117 caps for his country since making his debut in 2014, scoring 42 games. In our entertainment news, internet sensation Spyro has shared sad experiences before his breakout, where he begged for help in people's DMs on social media. The singer recounted the unpleasant experience of having to also seek financial assistance from his friends just to feed himself. But with his latest hit song, Who's Your Guy, the singer noted that all that was in the past as he thanked God for taking him higher. Still on entertainment, as the Big Brother Titans show draws to an end, Sashi has become the new head of house. She also became the third person to secure a slot in the final showdown coming up on April 12, 2023, joining Ebubu and Ipeleng. Currently, there are only 9 housemates left: Ebubu, Sashi, Fabang, Justin, Yvonne, Kanaga Jr., Black Boy, and Ipeleng and Kosi. Big Brother Titan is the joint South African and Nigerian edition of the Big Brother franchise. The theme is Zikahala Wahala. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 4. I am Rachel David White. Good afternoon.